Should be good to go.
All right. Good evening, Camp El Savona Panthers. We are so excited to see you. As we've been trying to do, we want to keep all of our stakeholders aware of what we're doing, what's happened, how school is going, and any changes and new information that is coming our way. So welcome to our Parent Town Hall meeting. We are very excited to get together today. As we go through, something to know, making this webinar work so we can talk to everyone. Please make sure you're muted throughout the entire presentation. If you turn off your video on your device, that will allow it to stream a little bit better. It doesn't save as much, it saves bandwidth and it works better. Please find Mrs. DeCamp in the chat feature. We have it set up to be able to send her messages. As we go through the presentation, if you have questions, please type it, send it to Mrs. DeCamp. At the end of the presentation, we're then going to do our best to answer any questions or at least comment on them. And if there are any other questions, please make sure that you let us know. Please understand that if there are some personal questions that you have or about specific students or things like that, please let us know in the chat box, and then we'll get in touch with you in the next 24 to 48 hours. We'll give you a call and we'll talk through your specific question to help. So just putting that out there, that's how this can run really smoothly. What are we going to be talking about today? Well, I'm going to give you some updates from the governor and New York State Education Department. We're going to talk about our phase 3 and how we're reinforcing phase 3. We're also going to talk about the rest of the school year, some options that we're thinking for summer school, and we're going to ask for parent feedback on that. Then general questions and answers, and we'll end with some bottom lines, like what you need to know now as Camp El Savona Panther and how we're working on our education. So starting things out with some updates from our governor and the New York State Ed Department. Well, currently in Steuben County, we have had 228 confirmed cases and 38 deaths. In New York State, we've had 337 confirmed cases and over 21,000. In the United States, we've had 1.3 million with 81,000 deaths. This is serious, it's sad, it's hard. In modern memory, we have had nothing like this that we've had to deal with. Based on all of this, last week, the governor has shut down all schools in New York State for the remainder of the school year. Now, the good news is, though, COVID hospitalizations are decreasing steadily, and we're back to numbers when we started the pause back around March 13th. So what we're doing as a state is working. Now, one of the things the governor did recognize over the last several weeks is that New York State is different. We live in upstate New York, which is very different than Brooklyn. And he has put some guidelines together along with a committee through the New York State Education Department and other stakeholders throughout the counties and our state government to talk about how we can start reopening New York State now that we're seeing a consistent decrease in confirmed cases. If you've seen the news, he has started what he's calling the unpause in New York State, and he's allowing states to do it by regions. The good news is our region is one of those areas that they're allowing to start reopening on May 15th. The governor has stated that there's going to be 4 phases of opening, and the first phase will be Friday, May 15th. They will be reopening of specific low-risk businesses in manufacturing and retail. So our community will start seeing stores opening up again and people having more opportunities in trade and business. The governor is saying that he wants to do this in about 2-week increments to see how well it's working and if we have an increase in cases and hospitalizations. Once phase 1 has worked, he's looking at phase 2, which is a wider range of businesses to reopening, including storefront retails, professional services, real estate, those types of things. Phase 3 will focus on the hospital industry, and then dine-in restaurants will start opening. And if that then continues to go well, our phase 4 will allow schools, arts and entertainment businesses to reopen. The reason why I showed the 4 phases there is because I wanted parents and our families to see where schools lie in the governor's plan. So we're looking at, through those phases, really the reason why the governor closed schools for the rest of the year is for us to get to phase 4. We're going to be in the end of June. So that's where we stand as a state right now. And so just kind of giving some of that information. Now our phase 3 implementation had started with our last work pickup. And as I said, we were focusing on new learning with students. And we were looking at the idea of quantity, of not as much quantity, and looking at quality and in-depth of our priority standards. Our standards that your child needs to be successful going into next year, the standards that go across several subject areas, and the standards that really is going to allow your child to be successful in life and career. Now, as we continue, parents, I know this has not been easy. This has been tough. I'm a parent myself. Me trying to juggle helping out with the kids and then working from home and working remotely. I don't know what I would do without the help of my wife as we go through this. Every family is different. Every family has different supports. And I want to let all of you know that we understand that. And when it comes down to it, if you're really struggling in the academic part of everything, remember, the most important life skills are to read, write, and be able to do basic math and problem solve. So always looking at that reading and writing and learning about the world around them, those are something that parents can always do. If something's not working technology-wise, if something's not working with your child when it comes to the lessons the teacher has, those are always a way to engage your child in relevant and meaningful instruction. Now, if you are struggling in any of those academic ways, talk to your child's teacher. We'll get support for you. We have a great paraprofessional support force, teachers that are helping. What we had talked about before, the social emotional parts. We have our counselors working nonstop with our kids, calling, doing teleconferencing and counseling. We are also allowing our essentials, our special area teachers, they're taking on and adopting kids to help when kids might be struggling with motivation or connection, because we're social beings. When we're not around people for this long time, it can be hard for some kids, particularly our more extroverted kids. So I want to make sure that you know that those supports are there for you, and it's okay to reach out and express that. A couple of new things that are starting this week. We're going to start having the school open for drop-off and pickup of work every Thursday from 7:15 a.m. to 10 a.m. and then from 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Either myself, Mrs. DeCamp, possibly Mrs. Smith or Miss Barrett will be available during those specific times if you need to drop something off, if your teacher has something for you to pick up. Now we're going to do it safe. So anything that's dropped off is going to sit in the small gym until Monday. And then on Monday, teachers will then be able to come in and pick up those things for you to keep working. Now, some exciting news. Our hotspots came in today. We've been putting to repurpose them, and Mrs. Smith and Miss Barrett have been calling everyone that had weak internet and reported that they needed help with Wi-Fi. So she should have reached out and called you. If you are really struggling, didn't think at first your Wi-Fi wasn't going to work, but now you're really struggling, we do have a couple extras, not a ton, but we do have some for families that maybe now see a need for it. Also, our spring pictures finally came in. Yes, we finally got our spring pictures. So this Thursday, starting at 7:15 a.m. and to 10 and 4:30 to 6:30, if you want to come down to the school, if you had reserved a hotspot. We'll have that available to you. If you order spring pictures, you can pick them up. And if there's any schoolwork that you need to drop off to your teacher, then you can drop it off then too. Now, we're going to have one last whole school parent work pickup. This will be on Thursday, May 28th. It'll run from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. This day will be a day where teachers are going to make sure that all of any students' personal belongings they may have left in their desk or their cubby or in their locker, all of that is going to be there for kids to pick up. You will also be picking up schoolwork through the end of the school year, and I'll explain a little bit more what that's going to be as we go through this presentation. One thing we're also going to do is we've missed you guys so much. We've missed parents dropping their kids off. We've missed some amazing things we do for our school, but most of all, we just missed our kids. And we want to find some way to have some form of closure for the school year because it did not turn out the way we wanted it to. And on this Thursday, May 28th, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., we are going to have some special times for parents to come in, and we're going to ask you, we're going to do it very safely, but we're going to ask if when you come down to pick up the work, if you can bring your kid in the car so that we can wave and say hi and see them. You know, they're going to stay in their car. We're going to keep it safe, always safe. But we wouldn't mind being able to see and being able to say goodbye and have a few words as we wrap up the end of the school year. Now, the school year still goes till later than that, but this is the last time where we're going to have we're going to ask everyone to come to the school to pick up belongings throughout that school day. I would ask you to make sure you're following the parent s'more that comes out on Sunday, and we'll also do another couple reminders for parents about this day and what it will look like so that we can really celebrate our wonderful kids. As you look across the pictures below the bottom, this was our last pickup, and although all of our teachers look like a bunch of bandits in some way, just being there for our kids has been just wonderful and outstanding. So we really want to see you. So more information will come with that. Another reminder, pre-kindergarten registration. Child must be 4 years old by December 1st in 2020. So we're looking at still getting anyone that might have a child at that age to call to set up a registration date. We're also starting to think about summer school. If you looked at the governor's phase in, if we can get to phase 4 before July, there's a possibility we may be able to have small groups of kids in summer school or some type of activities. We don't know that for sure, and we're going to get guidance from the governor and New York State Education Department. But saying if we can't do something like that, we're going to reach out and ask for your thoughts as parents. What would be something we could offer in the summer for our kids that would be engaging, fun, and continue a reinforcement of basic skills, reading, writing, math, science, STEM fun activities over the summer? So what we're looking at is we're probably not going to do a virtual summer school like our regular virtual school is right now. That's probably not where we're going to go. We're looking at some other creative ways to go into the summer well with our kids. So if you have a creative mind and great ideas, we would love to hear some of your thoughts and what you think would engage your child over the summer and things that would be helpful for you. Looking at the big picture, here are the bottom lines, what you need to know now. As we stated, the school building is closed for the remainder of the school year. Our next whole building work pickup for all students is Thursday, May 28th, and it's going to be from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. The last day of school is going to be June 16th, unless the governor or the New York State Education Department gives us new guidance. That has been worked out because of everyone working through spring break and also working through what have been our snow day give back days, because our year is scheduled longer than what the actual New York State school year is. So right now it's tentatively June 16th, and we're planning based on that data. So unless something changes from the state, that's what we're looking at. Now, we're going to continue giving students new instruction until June 5th. That last week and a couple days, that June 8th through the 16th, students are going to receive review instruction. Their teachers are going to be doing assessments and activities with kids and keeping connection with kids, but it isn't going to be new instruction. It's going to be more reinforcement of skills and assessments. And that's really so our teachers can be able to assess kids and be able to get report cards completed that we'll send home via the mail, probably on or around June 19th. When it comes to digital access, the AT&T hotspots and spring portraits can be picked up Thursdays, 7:15 a.m. to 10 a.m., 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. by the small gym doors. Please make sure to fill out our summer school interest survey. It'll be in our s'more this Sunday, and it'll gauge interest. One other thing that I don't have written there, but I want to challenge my kids because I know some of you are watching. We have a new challenge this week, Pause for Reading. And this week's challenge was to take a picture of you reading one of your favorite books to a pet or your favorite stuffed animal. And then we're asking you to email that picture to Mrs. Smith in the office. And then Mrs. DeCamp and I are going to look through all of them. We're going to pick our 4 or 5 favorites. And Sunday, we're going to announce the winners. And we're going to show everyone's picture in our newsletter so that everyone gets to see you doing an awesome thing, reading to one of your pets or one of your favorite stuffed animals. And then next Sunday, we're going to come up with another challenge for you to do. Now, our top 5 winners are going to get a special letter in the mail, a special Panther Paw letter and award from Mrs. DeCamp and Mr. Anderson that we'll mail out to you on Monday that you'll get the next week. So I want to challenge you to read and share us some funny, awesome, cool times with your pets or your favorite stuffed animals. So with those bottom lines being shown and us where we're at, that's the most recent information that I know here at school for you. If any of you have been asking questions in the chat box with Mrs. DeCamp, I would say, Ms. DeCamp, if you want to ask and we can share and answer them together.
You betcha. So I only have 2 questions. So feel free to send some more if you guys have more. One is just a question regarding the hotspots. That there were a couple people that had believed that they're on the list and they haven't heard from them yet. I did just pull the list up and it looks like they've only our office staff has only gotten through about half the list. So I think they're still calling. So if you haven't gotten a call yet and you think you're on that list, you may still be getting one. So just if you have any questions about that, feel free to email Mr. Anderson or myself, or you can give the office a call and leave a voicemail if they don't answer. And they will make sure to follow up on that.
Yep.
I've had a couple of questions around the yearbook. Will we have a yearbook? And if so, will the link be in the s'more? I know that we've had the link. I believe the link has expired, so we can't order online anymore, but there is a yearbook. Do we know if we could still order, Mr. Anderson?
So, yes, everyone was able to order the yearbooks online. And that had been advertised for a while. We can't do that right now, but Mrs. Reed and Miss Galore did order extras, knowing that some parents might not have been able to order online. So what I would ask you to do is reach out to Miss Galore or Mrs. Reed if you're interested, and it'll be a first come, first serve basis to order the yearbooks. And when the yearbooks come in, we'll be letting parents know whether either they'll be mailed home or we'll have them as part of one of our final pickups before the end of the year.
Okay. Questions about, will we be having a 6th grade graduation or a kindergarten graduation?
Okay, so we are going to have some form of recognition for pre-K, K, and 6th grade. One of the things we will be doing is, well, in actuality, I've met with kindergarten yesterday. I'll be meeting tomorrow. I will be meeting with 6th grade teachers and our pre-K teachers to really look at what those guidelines are and how we can do something to recognize our kids through some form of ceremony. To my kindergarten kids out there and parents, I know one of the most important things you want is a great picture of your child in their cap and gown, and that recognition. We are going to find a way to make sure that happens. So we're putting together some ideas to how we could do that. I do know that when the last pickup, the May 28th pickup, we're going to ask parents of 6th graders to come between the hours of 6 and 7. And we're looking at being able to do some form of recognition as they come and pick up their students' stuff. And that's things that we're in the planning stages of right now. So if you want to mark your calendars. We're definitely looking at finding ways to recognize and do something. It's just going to be obviously different because we can't have a gathering together physically with everyone.
All right. Cool. I've gotten a couple more. Could we possibly pick up pictures on May 28th?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah. If you don't get them prior to that, we're just going to hold on to them every Thursday until everyone's there.
Perfect. And then someone asked about the deadline for the Panther shirts. I think they're referring to the Panther Strong Athletic Club sale that's happening. And I believe the deadline for that is this Sunday, the 17th. And the link for that is on our school website, so cscsd.org.
Yeah, and it's also in the last s'more too.
Yes. And let's see, is Monday, May 25th a school day or is it a Memorial Day holiday?
Monday, May 25th is a holiday.
Sure is. And the last one is just keep an eye out for library books. If you have a school library book, you can certainly bring that back on any of the Thursday drop-off dates, but you can also bring that back on May 28th as well. When will yearbooks be in? That's very close to the end of school.
Yeah, we normally do our yearbook assembly the 1st or 2nd week of June. So our yearbooks will probably be in around the same time. So we're looking probably the 1st week of June they'll be in. Depending on when they come in, will depend on when we'll be able to coordinate for parents to get them. Mm-hmm. So I'll be working with Mrs. Reed and Miss Galore on how we can do that. And also, as our yearbooks come, we'll also find a way to do our normal dedication, whether it be an online video or something like that too.
Will there be a device drop-off date after school has ended? We talked a little bit about this today.
Yes, we're gonna have to do a device drop-off to get them back. Our tech teams are gonna need to go through them, re-image, do basic maintenance on them, and those types of things. That information will come your way pretty soon. Also, availability of devices is going to be something we'll talk about regarding any type of summer programs we may have also. So, yep, you can plan on thinking that you'll have to return those in June at some point. Then, if we do use devices in some form in a summer program, we would then get them, cleaned up, tech serviced, and then ready to go.
Is there any way that teachers could sign yearbooks before the kids get them? I don't know if we may have to wait until next year to get signatures, just because our teachers are not in school every day. What do you think, Mr. Anderson?
Oh boy. I think that would be hard.
It would be hard, yeah.
I think it would be hard for us to safely do it.
Right. Can we pay for a yearbook on Thursday? I think if you want a yearbook, I think contacting Mrs. Reed or Ms. Galore, so that they can talk about that. I'm not sure if they have extra, that they order extra.
They did order extra,
Okay.
but there's a limited amount of extra. So if,
Right.
if you didn't order one online, I reaching out to Mrs. Reed or Miss Gaylor, and then I think they can direct you on how they want to
Yeah.
collect the funds
Yep.
for that, and we'll help with that.
Yep.
Just know that it's going to be first come, first serve with what
Yep.
extras they did order.
Let me just double check here. I don't know if we want to let her answer this, but I had a question about a teacher that may or may not be retiring.
Oh, so to any retirees in the district, the district is working on how we can do a recognition for them. We don't share the names of retirees until they want to share, and then they do it in their own way. So so I would say keeping your eyes out in that way.
Okay. Will schools be staying virtual as a new way of learning?
Okay. So this is, and I'll actually speak with this because Governor Cuomo made a pretty kind of big uproar when he had stated reimagining schools. The next day after, I think he realized he didn't communicate it in a way that was what he meant. He had come out and restated what he meant by it. So here's the reality. Our hope is to go back to a traditional school in September. We are planning for a traditional school. We are building schedules for a traditional school. We are building bus routes for a traditional school, the whole deal. What he had clarified and restated was, what if this happens again? What if a new disease comes this way and we have to shut schools down again and we can't physically be together? What if we have to continue social distancing and we can't have 20 kids in a classroom at one time, and now we've got to have 10 kids in a classroom at a time so we can keep them apart and safe throughout a school day. So really what he was saying is we need to prepare for the unknowns that we know can happen now. I've been an educator for 22 years. I never would have imagined this would happen. Not even close. Big snowstorm where we missed school for a week. Yeah, I could see that. I just never really realized that we would be going through this now. So really what the governor was saying in his restatement was, we need to be prepared should this happen again, so that it's done in a way where we are not literally rebuilding an entire school system overnight, which is what we did. And that was hard. And there are still things we are doing clunky that we need to get better at by far. So what we're going to be doing going into the summer is thinking the what ifs and kind of planning out some side plans for the what ifs. And my hope is the district is going to be able to share that with parents in the summer. Like, here are our plans. If something happens and the governor says we can only have a third of our student body in the school at once, what is our plan to deal with that? How are we going to respond to it? Because now that we know this could happen again, I hope it doesn't, but if it does, we want to be as prepared as possible so that we can take care of our kids and take care of our families in the best way possible. So another thing is, I hope this is going to push internet access to families. We've been asking for that in rural areas for years, to have consistent internet access. I hope it really states the importance of an immediate support to families whose jobs might be affected, who may be food insecure because their jobs are affected, thinking through the aspects and concepts of daycare, those types of things. So I think it's, now that it's happened, we're trying to think, what can we do to respond?
Awesome. And then just one more question about yearbooks. I think as far as like having teachers write notes, I think that's possible. I would just communicate with your teacher. The question is, could teachers write notes to be put in yearbooks? And then like the principal and assistant principal do one?
I think,
We could put that in the s'more.
I mean, we could put that in the s'more, or, I mean, reach out to your child's teacher. And if it's something that's really important to your child, just ask your child's teacher.
Yeah.
And
We
your
have to be a
principal.
little creative around that this year, just because of the safety. Yeah. That is the last question, Mr. Anderson.
Okay. Well, I want to thank everyone for coming. To the students I was able to see, it is good to see you guys. We miss you. And I'm hoping that we can get together again soon, whether it be virtual or not, and look forward to any type of celebrations we can do as we come to the end of the school year. And to parents, I'm so thankful for you. This is not easy. I know exactly how you feel with my own kids at home. And I just stick with us, just hold on with us, and help us learn and support each other together. And don't be afraid to reach out to your teacher and say, I'm struggling, I need help, I don't understand this. Don't hesitate to do that, because we are going to do our absolute best to help. So thank you guys so much. Go Panthers. Have a fantastic evening. Bye.
Hi, everyone.